Welcome to our Lunchtime Live program on WJEJ. This is Will Kaufman from the Public Information Office of Washington County Public Schools. We are here at this time, the third Thursday each month, to talk about public education. First timer with us today, Claire Houseknecht is here from our Human Resources Office, coordinator, recruiter with HR. Claire, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us exactly what you do. I mean, under that broad title, what exactly is going on in your day-to-day?
So day-to-day, I'm doing employee hiring of our ESP employees, which could be from bus drivers to custodians to lunch assistants. And then throughout the year, I'm also working on teacher recruitment and also retention of our current employees. So celebration of service like we had last night, and also recognizing our employees on a daily basis.
So you really cover the range, other than hiring high-ranking administrators, you really cover the range of folks who work for Washington County Public Schools.
Yeah, I get a chance to talk with almost everyone at some point during the hiring process.
Tell me about last night. That's for folks who and we set it up a little bit. Folks who are listening to the radio station knew a little bit about what the event was all about. We do it every year. It's an employee recognition, and I know that's something you and the department have been emphasizing, but give folks your flavor, your first time with the event.
So for me, it was really exciting because I had never attended one as an employee or on the HR side. So we were able to recognize employees who are celebrating their 5, 10, 15, all the way up to 45 years of service with the county. And we were very fortunate to be at the Washington County Museum of Fine Arts, which was a beautiful location. And we had over 100 employees attend, and we had the opportunity to mingle with them and, find out a little bit about their day-to-day and just celebrate them and appreciate them.
What kind of feedback did you get?
I got phenomenal feedback. People really appreciated, that it was in such a beautiful location and that we took the time, outside of our day to be there for them.
Well, you get folks from the interview, from the recruiting, from the interview, right up to recognition. So where give me some steps along where tell us about where it starts and how we ultimately get to an event like that where folks truly are on board as an employee for 5 years and beyond. Take us from step one.
So if we're thinking about teachers, a lot of times we're meeting them at job fairs. So it might just be, a cold meeting where they've never heard of us before. We have to teach them about Washington County. And other instances, they're coming to us. So they're moving to the area. They really want to work for us. And we found that more recently, we're finding we are the employer of choice. So for teachers and also for administrative positions and clerical positions, we are the people that they want to come to eventually. So having that first interaction with those potential employees is really important too, so that they know from day one that we're here for them to support them to be successful.
What is it about us? I mean, it doesn't make it that easy for you and yours, but there certainly is an advantage if either the word is out or these folks are aware of the positives of Washington County Public Schools as an employer. What is that word?
I think that we are really on the forefront of everything. We were the first county in the state of Maryland to completely implement one-to-one technology for our 3rd through 12th graders. So that is a huge selling point when people might be coming from counties where they only had 1 or 2 iPads or 1 or 2 computers in their classroom. And I think that potential employees have seen the investments we're putting back into our teachers through tuition reimbursement, and also with our ESP employees, we have a very strong tuition reimbursement program. So we're really investing into our employees and back into the schools and the students.
If you had to put up columns of pros, cons in recruiting for our school system, within the region competitively, within a broader scope, as far as where folks might have options to work or at least to seek employment anyway. What's in the plus? I mean, some of the things you've mentioned. What are some other things in the plus column? What are some other things, though, that folks may look with a kind of a skeptical eye for whatever reason?
I think that our greater community and what Washington County offers is people don't really know about it. So they kind of think, oh, we're over the mountain, we're Western Maryland, when really we have such great activities that families can do or individuals can do in the area, and also that we are close to the city. But our pay is much higher than surrounding counties as well. So people can afford to live here, play here, but still go down to the city. So also just educating people about where Washington County is, that we aren't, completely out in the middle of nowhere.
On the more challenging side of that ledger, what do we face? What are we up against when we have to compete for employees?
I think we are very fortunate that we don't have a lot of turnover in our employees. So when we are interviewing people, it might be a little while before we're able to make job offers. Larger districts hire thousands of teachers a year. We hire a little over 100 consistently. So we are truly hiring the best, but many times when they're getting an open contract at a job fair, but they're one of thousands rather than one of 100. So that is a challenge for us.
On the ESP side, on the support personnel side, different kinds of jobs, maybe an equal amount of variety in what we have to offer or what's available. It would seem like there's more turnover in those jobs. Am I right in that?
Yeah, there is some, but again, that's, like you said, there is more variety, and there's a lot of opportunity for movement laterally as well in those positions. So from school to school or increase in hours. So sometimes it's a great opportunity just to get your foot in the door sometimes as a part-time job too. So it just depends on the level of patience sometimes of waiting for the right position to open.
When we talk with the instructional folks on the teaching side of it, again, there are some positions that are very, very difficult to fill or have been way more challenging than other positions these days. Talk about some of those and what kind of challenge that is to find sort of specialty positions, let's say.
Typically, your high school math and science are the hardest to find. The individuals who are going into college majoring in physics or majoring in biology, they might not typically be thinking about teaching as a career. They're probably going into the private sector. Obviously, because it does have a higher pay, but there's just a lot less people who are actually graduating with those secondary education degrees than there are elementary.
What do we offer those folks? I mean, how do you make the difference with someone like that? Not necessarily somebody.
Yeah.
If somebody has a private sector option, it's really hard to compete against pay benefits. It's close to apples and oranges, I guess. But in the education world, what can we offer those folks when we're either short or we're challenged in trying to fill some of those positions? How can we make the difference to get those folks to come here?
We have really good relationships with a lot of the surrounding colleges. So Frostburg and Shepherd, we are having them there are student teachers as well. So if we can have them be in Washington County as student teachers, we know, that they're able to teach well, that they understand what we're about, and hopefully we're able to hire them. So also, if they didn't student teacher, I still can reach out to those contacts and say, hey, we're looking for a science person. Who do you have that you recommend?
Do you feel like you're in good shape if you're having a conversation with someone as a math teacher, a science teacher, or a more a physics teacher, let's say? Does the conversation ever come down to, are you talking physics with them? Because this makes you a much more fascinating recruiter if you're actually talking subject and content areas. Do you ever work with our instructional folks?
We do work with them. However, I do know that I am not the expert, and even they are not necessarily the experts in that exact subject, but we're looking for people who are willing to learn about how we teach things and about our curriculum and our standards. So I know that I'm not the subject matter expert in math or science or English. I was an elementary school teacher, so those are not my areas, but we can still see someone who has a passion for what they're doing and, wants to be a part of our team and wants to be doing what we're doing here.
Do you run us through a situation where you've had a good positive interaction at a fair with someone? Your instinct is, okay, this guy, this gal is a real candidate. Follow us through like locking down that person.
Many times at the job fairs, we do have those content specialists and instructional specialists, as well as administrators. So any job fair, it's never just me. We always have, elementary or high school principal or assistant principal with us. So if I know that, one of our schools is looking for a high school physics teacher and I met one, as soon as we get back into town, I'm typically calling that principal and calling our content specialist and saying, hey, reach out to this person. So then they'll have that second touch from someone else saying, let me tell you more about Washington County, and then they can find out more about their content.
So when you go to fairs, then you may have a checklist of individual positions that we're seeing, as opposed to you corralling volume. I mean, getting a stack of applications or contact information. You may be looking for a particular type of contact.
Yeah, we typically are always looking for the math, science, and English for secondary. Many times foreign languages as well. The state of Maryland has a shortage of foreign language teachers, but we've been very fortunate. Our foreign language and English language supervisor, Paula Moore, is a great recruiter for us and does recruiting while she's at professional events as well. So we've been very fortunate to get some really great teachers by her.
If you're just joining us, this is Lunchtime Live on WJEJ. It's a partnership with Washington County Public Schools. We're here the third Thursday of the month at this time. Today's topic, human resources related. Claire Houseknecht is a coordinator recruiter with HR, with the school system, to talk about recruiting personnel, recruiting teachers and support staff, and ultimately then getting them on board and retaining them too. We have this little checklist of categories of what the efforts ultimately do. We recruit them, we hire them, but we also want to keep them. We don't want those positions those people shuffling in and out the door all the time. What's behind our retention effort?
So we've started something on our Human Resources Facebook page called Daily Awesomeness. So we are celebrating the awesome things that are happening in our schools and just across the district as well. So it might be that for example, Northern Middle School students were able to have a flag football game, and it ended up being against staff versus students at the end for good behavior. And then the students developed a YouTube video to showcase the event. So it was really student-led and student-driven, but that's one example. But every single day on our Facebook page, we're posting different examples from around the county that administrators have shared with us or that other staff members have shared, just about great things that are happening. Because we know, but with, almost 3,000 employees, it's hard to be in every school at once. So people have been sharing with us the great things happening. So we're trying to recognize employees that way.
I assume that's coming back to you in a positive way, that folks, and we can go through the old cliches that folks aren't teaching it for the glory. They're not teaching. They're not working for the glory. They're doing it for the good of the kids in the classrooms, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But boy, to get a little stroke every now and then. Last night proved it with the employee celebration. And just on the day-to-day, some level of recognition, I think it does mean a lot.
And parents and other staff members, they like to celebrate the great things that are happening because they're living it. They get to see it. So for us to do it in a public way where thousands, typically 5,000 to 6,000 people see each one of those posts. So, we're really telling our story and the great things that are happening in Washington County Public Schools.
When you have interactions, either on the day-to-day or out when we're in the recruiting mode, once we get folks here, do you ever work with the professional development folks? Do you ever follow up, or do you turn folks over who are employees to the hands of the professional development folks and let them do their work?
So we do work closely with the professional development team. Lindsay Darr, who is our certification specialist, she works really closely with them because they need their renewal credits to maintain certifications. So we do work closely with them. And it is sort of that checking in, seeing how things are going, because many of these candidates employees now I've been working with for almost a year for some of them. So I've known them for a while, and just to kind of see how things are going and for them to know that they can always reach out to us if they have questions or have concerns.
And when they do, what are those questions?
What
do new employees ask?
It's usually small things like where do they find, when is open enrollment for benefits? What, where do I find my sick time? So just little things that they just might not know who to ask within their school, but know that we're open, safe place that they can come to us if they do have questions.
Can you tell when you can you tell that a good employee is sitting a prospect is sitting across the table from you? Do you know?
I'd like to think I do. However, many times people think highly of people who are like themselves. So, we've been trying to work on really diversifying the thought of our administrators and of people who are going out and recruiting, that just because someone might be a little more reserved doesn't mean they're not going to be a great teacher. So sometimes I do get that gut feeling, but to try to be objective and say, okay, what do we need in a teacher as a county? What will the students need to have the best instructor?
When you go out, when you're on the road looking for employees and in that recruiting mode, how far do you go? What's the strategy?
Last year we went down to North Carolina, so further south, and then up in Pennsylvania as well to Pittsburgh and to Philly. However, we've kind of found that people close to home are the ones who are coming here. So, just to kind of adjust our strategy this year, we're going to be hosting several different on-site screening events at Washington County. So we had a diversity day last year, and we had an individual from South Carolina fly up and someone from Las Vegas fly in as well, just for that event. So people want to come to Washington County. So we figure if we can host events here and really showcase what we have to offer, that's probably a better use of our time and efforts.
I think as soon as anybody now, either in the school system or in the community, uses the word diversity in any context, and I was going to say on alert, but that's not really the case. I mean, our attention perks up a bit because it's certainly been something that we've had our attention drawn to. We've been aware of diversity in whatever context in the school system, but more so now. When you say Diversity Day, what's the context of that? What does that mean? So
we had it was a specialized recruitment event where individuals were invited. They either had to be part of one of those hard to recruit areas, so high school, math, science, a male elementary or early childhood, which is a really hard area for us to find, or someone in an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. So any of those areas where we can really diversify our own staff and where we have our highest need. So we've been working really hard the past 2 years with the Diversity Task Force. And we're really excited because the Board of Education has started, they will be starting an ad hoc diversity coalition. So this group will be able to focus on and really take where we've been and make it a little bit stronger. So they are still accepting applications through November 28th. So individuals who are interested can go to the Washington County Public Schools website and complete the application.
This is for anybody who would be interested in this committee.
Yes.
It's not going to be a permanent committee. I mean, they'll work through. I think
it's about a year.
Summer.
So
there'll be a preliminary report. I think next summer, and then a full report,
a final report
by the end of next year.
So individuals who are just interested in bettering our school system and really helping out.
I think the initial information we had on good candidates for the committee had some criteria to them. Maybe folks from particular backgrounds. Am I right?
I think they were saying maybe it doesn't necessarily just have to be people involved in the school system. It could be people from faith-based or business communities. So really, we want to have a diversity group so that we can hear all of the voices from the community.
Okay, so the deadline again is the end of
November 28th.
Okay. So if anybody's interested, you can go to the school system website or call us at the Center for Education Services on Downsville Pike. Contact us in whatever way and find out more information if this information today has caught your ear. If you're not aware of it, so far. Your presentation, your department's presentation to the school board, a couple of meetings ago was. You guys sounded very confident. There's a lot of information packed into that presentation. What were the highlights? Why were you on the agenda? What was the report designed to
We
accomplish?
were reporting on our new hires as well as the turnover from the past year, and also an update to our diversity report that we had given back in February.
Right.
So just kind of updating our efforts and looking forward to the changes we're going to be making.
Right. Highlights?
Our staff, we hired more diverse teachers this past year, which was exciting. Our overall retirements and resignations were about the same. However, I personally read all of the resignation letters, and the overwhelming majority were incredibly positive and only great things to say about Washington County Public Schools. So it was a positive and exciting presentation for us because we feel really good going forward.
When you say resignation letters, do we have some opportunity when folks, for whatever reason, whether retirement or for other jobs or other opportunity, or whatever the reasons they're leaving our system as an employee, we have an opportunity to talk to some of those folks, right? Is it?
Yeah, they have the option to come in and meet with us in HR, and everyone's offered an exit interview as
Right.
well.
Do folks do that?
They usually do the electronic one. Only a few people
Okay.
did the in person, but those are still good opportunities to get some honest feedback.
And what kind of feedback do you get? I mean, something that can help us in other ways?
A lot of times people are just the same reason that we're able to get employees is that they might live in other counties or want to work closer to home, which is how we were able to hire many employees because they live in the area and wanted to work in the area.
Give me your next year. What's on your agenda for the next 6 months to a year?
Well, our applications for teaching just opened up on Monday. So anyone who's interested in applying, they can start their application and submit it now. So for the 2017-2018 school year. So at this point, we'll just be we actually have a job fair in about 2 weeks at Bowie State University. So we'll be doing that. So we'll have job fairs, but otherwise really just celebrating the employees and planning our events here in town. So we'll have more information about dates coming forward.
When you go to Bowie, who are we competing against?
Most of the major counties, so Montgomery County, PG County, Frederick County, most of the Maryland educational associations.
Are we more of a disadvantage there than we would be like on our own turf out here? If we'd be at a fair wherever in the immediate area. I mean, Bowie would be more of a road trip, I think.
Yeah. It is, just because, again, the educating people about where Washington County is.
Right.
But it's a pretty small job fair. We hired 2 people from that job fair last year. And it was because we had the chance to really talk with them and get to know them as candidates and had that continual follow-up and built the relationship a year ago.
Right. Where do our teaching candidates primarily come from as far as schools?
A lot of them come from Frostburg and from Shepherd because we do work with them for our student teachers. So we hired 17 of our student teachers that we had, and we're still working with student teachers and have a great, strong student teacher program. Otherwise, it's really a variety. So because people may have had other careers or have been working in other counties and are relocating.
Is there a school or two where we've started to pull more teachers than before? I always like like sports recruiting when athletes all of a sudden there's Hagerstown's a real pipeline, and then name the school. Yeah, they send a lot of baseball players down there, or the volleyball players just keep coming out of Washington County and they're going to this college. Does it work in reverse where all of a sudden, we're starting to pull any number of candidates from some college in Tennessee or wherever it is? Do we ever get like a hot relationship building with somebody like that?
I think we're still working on the hot relationship right now. We really would love to get more students from University of Maryland. They are just incredibly smart, on point, and a lot of them are double majors. So we're really trying to build that pipeline and to have them do their student teaching here and really want to come here.
And what's the challenge with Maryland? I mean, Maryland seems like a household name around here. It is. Why is it you sort of present it as a challenge. Why is it a challenge? Because everybody's competing for that?
They're usually doing their student teaching in Howard County
Yeah, okay.
or in Anne Arundel County. So they're usually getting hired at the schools they're doing their student teaching at.
Right.
So it is challenging when they've already got a job before we meet them.
Are our schools turning out teaching candidates?
We do have the Teacher Academy at South High, and I believe North had it as well. And we are actually just starting to see some of those graduates from 4 years ago that are graduating college. So one of them is actually one of our student teachers now. And I met with another candidate who is graduating from Towson in December. So she's planning on moving home, and she left the IB program to do the Teaching Academy. And she knew that teaching was what she wanted to do. So, we're really excited to have people coming back home.
It would seem like it would be a full circle situation if the kids are seeing that their teachers are excited about their job, are passionate about their work. Then all of a sudden it sinks in that I'd like to be like Mrs. I'd like to be like Mr. It seems like it would work like that.
And that's what I would love to see is, teaching's a really tough job. You have to be really smart. And for us to really be pushing our smartest and brightest students to become teachers and really have that snowball effect on future students and our area.
Let's close out here in the next 2 minutes. Give me your bottom line on what's the message you would like to get to the community.
Is that we appreciate all of our staff, and we are always looking for individuals' feedback, and that we have lots of jobs available always. So that if people are interested, they need to just go to our website and apply, or give us a call if they have questions. We're always
You know what? I'm going to give you an opening to do a sale. Give us your best sales pitch on folks who are listening right now, who either are or might know someone who's not a teaching candidate, but may be up for something else, some other line of work for the school system. Give us your best pitch on some of those opportunities.
So we have paraprofessional positions, which typically work one-to-one with students, and those are usually full-time or part-time. And we always have custodial positions available, and substitute custodian and substitute food service. So food service positions are really great for people who might have their own kids in school because it's during school hours. It's usually in the middle of the day, especially if they're doing lunch duty. And, they can still get their kids on the bus and be home when they're getting off the bus. So lots of flexibility within all of the positions.
You guys also work with the transportation department. I mean, it's almost like they have a life of their own on recruiting and hiring. I mean, it's an ongoing challenge, and it probably is universally everywhere else. But they're always very, very aggressive about recruiting and hiring.
And our substitute bus driver program is the step into becoming a permanent bus driver with Washington County. And it's a 1 week long training. And at the end of it, after they do their training hours, they have a CDL license. So they're pretty much getting their CDL license for free through us. And then we hire our permanent bus drivers from that sub bus driver pool.
Right. So check the website, call into HR, call us at the offices over on Downsville Pike. Make a contact if you have questions. You can go to the website. All the opportunities are there. And there's an opportunity to contact us via the website or Facebook, either the school system's Facebook page, HR's Facebook page. Plenty of opportunities to find us if you have questions or might want to pursue the direction you've already been taking, or might want to change it up and get into the field of education. Claire, thank you very much. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Claire Houseknecht is in our Human Resources Office with Washington County Public Schools as a coordinator and recruiter for the department. We thank you all for joining us. Lunchtime Live is heard the third Thursday at this time, a partnership between Washington County Public Schools and WJEJ.